Now we are going to learn about the while loop in C++. While loop is an entry control loop. Here is a syntax. So here is an entry control loop because this is a keyword name called while. Here we are going to have the condition. If this particular condition is true, then we are going to execute this body of the statement. So this is an entry control. Only this body of the statement, there is a typo error here, sorry about that. So this particular statement will be executed only if this given condition is true. I'm sure that you are surprised, and then you might be thinking, then if it is a case, what is the difference between if condition and while loop? Well, there is a difference. Same applies to if condition. Here instead of while, we are going to use if as a keyword when we are using the if condition. If this particular condition is true, in case, let's say if this one is an if, I remember saying if this given condition is true, this particular statement is going to be executed only once. If this condition is false, of course, this body of the statement is not going to be executed. But in while loop, this is a loop. So here also we are going to check the condition. If this given condition is true, this body of the statement is going to be executed, but not once until this condition becomes false. That's the difference. In if condition, this one will be executed only once, but in while loop, this statement will be executed multiple times as long as this given condition is true. That is the reason why we are calling this while loop as an entry control loop. Don't worry about this explanation. Let me give you the quick example so that you will understand how the while loop would look like. So here, the same example that we have seen them for the for loop, where we are able to print the hello people 5 times. Now I am going to show you the same example how we can do it with a while loop. Okay, now I am going to create a variable. So let me say it can be anything. So let me just say integer variable. I'm going to declare a variable as I, and then I'm going to set this one to 1. Okay, now I'm going to have the while loop. This while loop is going to have the condition. Now how many times do you want to print that message saying hello people? 5 times, right? So here you're going to pass the condition I, and then how many times do you want to print that message? 5 times. So less than or equals to 5, because I want to print that message 5 times. So inside you're going to write the statement. So what is the statement? Any message that you want to print. So here in this case, let me say hello people. Now I'm going to use the end of method so that every line will be printed in the new line, right? So now I have initialized the value here. Now within this while loop, the only thing that I am going to have them here is a condition. There is a difference between the for loop and the while loop. In the for loop, we are going to have 3 things where we will initialize the value, we will check the condition, then we will increment or decrement within the same for loop syntax, within the same condition, right? But here in the while loop, we only check the condition. Then if this particular condition is true, this part is going to be executed. But the difference here is this particular while loop is going to be executed as long as this condition is true. Okay, so in this case, what I'm going to do, I less than or equals to 5, see out, we are going to say hello people. So let me give you this example now. So here we have I is 1, I is equivalent to 1. Then we are going to check this 5. Here we have 1 for the I less than or equals to 5. Is it true or false? The condition is true, right? If the condition is true, what is going to happen? We are going to print this message hello people. Again, what will happen after executing this statement, the control will move again to this condition, right? When it moves against to this condition is going to be true all the time, isn't it? So I value is always going to be 1, and then it's always going to be less than or equals to 5. In this case, this condition is always going to be true, and then this loop will be executed multiple times. I mean, it will lead us to have the infinite loop. To avoid that, what do I need to do? I just need to increment the I value, so that when the I value becomes 6, this loop will terminate, and then the control will move out of the program, right? So for that, what do you need to do? After printing the statement, you need to increment the I value. So what will happen in this case? So this statement will be executed. After, I mean here the hello people will be executed. Now again I value will be incremented. So what is the I value initially? 1. When you increment the I value, 1 will become 2. Now 2 less than or equals to 5, right? Now again it will check the condition. 2 less than or equals to 5, it will print again. I value will be incremented. I value will become 3. 3 less than or equal to 5. Again this statement will be printed. Again I value will be incremented. 4, 5. It will print the hello people. As soon as the I value reaches 6, this condition will fail. When this condition fails, the control will move out of this loop and then the program will terminate. So in this case, this while loop is going to print this particular hello people message 5 times. Let me run so that you understand how that one would look like. As expected, hello people message has been printed 5 times. So this is how while loop will work. So it's not like if condition. If this condition is true, this loop is going to be executed repeatedly as long as this particular condition is true. But in the if statement, it will execute only one when the condition is true. So this is a simple example. I'm sure that there is no issues here. Now, is it possible for me to have a nested while loop, just like the way that we had nested for loop? Is it okay that I can have a nested while loop? Yes, it is possible. Let me show you this quick example so that you will understand. So here, okay, let this one be I is equals to 1. Now here what I'm going to check, instead of I, let me just reduce the number of iterations. I'm going to say this one as a 3. Okay, when I value is less than or equals to 3, what we are going to have them inside here is, let's say I'm going to create another variable, integer j is equals to 1. Now I am going to have another while loop. So this while loop is going to take the condition as j less than or equals to, let's say 3. Then if this one is true, then again this one needs to have a body of the loop, right? So this body of the loop, what I want to print them here is just an I value and the j value. So in order to print the I value and j value, same. So I want to print the I value. So if you want to print the I value, here you're just going to put I, and then let me just have these 2 full colons, and then I wanted to print, I missed the double quotes here, j value. Let me say j value. So j value will be printed from the variable j, and then I just want to end L. I hope everything is clear, right? Let me just remove this part so that it's easy for me to explain. First, I have initialized the I value to 1. So I is equals to 1. Then I am trying to check the condition. What is the condition? 1 less than or equals to 3. Is it true or false? The condition is true. If the condition is true, it will come inside. What is there inside? Inside I have said j is equals to 1. Okay, j is equals to 1. What is the next step? While j less than or equals to 3. What is the j value? 1 less than or equals to 3. Is it true or false? It's true. If it is true, what is going to happen? This one is going to print out the I value and the j value at the moment. Isn't it so? So what is I value at the moment? I value at the moment is 1. J value at the moment is 1. Right? Now after that, I need to terminate this loop on a certain condition. So for that, what do I need to do? The only thing that you can do them is just increase the j value. When you increase the j value, what will happen? I value will remain 1, and then j value will be incremented to 2. I value will remain 1, and then j value will incremented to 3. As soon as the j value will become 4, this condition is failed, right? When this condition is failed, this loop is not going to be executed. Then it will go back to this first while loop. So when you wanted to go back to this first while loop, what do you need to do? Again, you need to increment the I value so that at some point you can terminate this loop. I hope it's clear, right? Now I am going to put I plus plus. So this I value is going to be out of this loop because this while loop is for the variable j. So when this j reaches 4, this loop will terminate. Then the control will come out of the loop. When I say come out of the loop, out of this curly braces, then it will find I plus plus. When I say I plus plus, the control will move to this place. Then I value will be incremented. In that case, I value will become 2, j value will become 1. I value will become 2, j value will become 2. I value will become 2, j value will become 3. And then when the j value becomes 4, again this loop will terminate. Again the I value will be incremented. I value will become 1, j value is 1. I value is 3, this one is j value is 2. I value is 3, j value is also 3. In this case, both while loop will terminate because the condition will fail as soon as the I value will become 4. So when I run this one, this is how the result is going to be look like, hopefully. What is the error? J value. Okay, here put the double quotes. As you can see them here, I value 1 1 1, J value 1 2 3. I value 2 2 2, J value 1 2 3. I value 3 3 3, J value 1 2 3. So this is how you can nest a while loop within another while loop. Now I am going to give you a simple task. You are going to write a program using an while loop. Okay, now here is your task. You are going to write a C++ program to find the sum of positive numbers, only positive numbers. I hope you know what is positive numbers. In case if the user enters the negative number, then the loop should ends with the negative number and the entered number should not be added to the sum. So basically your task is this. Let's say I'm going to enter the first positive number is, let's say, 2. The next positive number is 3. I'm going to add. The next number the user is going to enter is 4. The next number the user is trying to enter is 7. So now you're going to add everything. Every number is going to be added. So 5, 9, 16, right? In case if the user enters the negative number, then the loop should stop working, right? You're just going to sum up the positive numbers that you were entering before entering this negative number. Now this negative 2 should not be added to this sum. So as a result, you are going to get the sum of all positive number as 16. So this is your task. This is what you are going to be writing using while loop. Now it's time for you to write the code. I hope you have tried to write the program for the same task that I have given you. In case if you want me to write the code for the same, let me just explain you how that one would look like. Let's say I'm going to create a variable. I'm going to call this variable as a number. Now I'm going to find out the sum of all the positive number. So for that I'm just going to create a variable integer add. Then I'm going to assign this one to 0, because if I don't assign the value to this variable, maybe this add variable will come up with a garbage value. I don't want to have any garbage value, because initially the sum would be 0, so that every time when I enter the number it will be added to that 0. So in case if the user enters 1, the 1 will be added to 0, so the first number will be 1. Then the user enters the number as 2, then that one will be added to the previous sum. So this is an idea. Now I have two variables. Now what is the next step? I'm going to ask the user to enter the number. So for that I'm going to say cout enter any number. Okay, so let me just put the enter. Now you need to collect that number, right? So for that cin, what is the variable that you have declared? This number as a variable, right? So whatever the value that the user enter will be collected to this particular input function. Now here you are going to write the condition using while. So while, what would be the condition here? What do you wanted to check? The user has to enter something equal to 0 or greater than 0. Why? Because we are going to add only positive number. Positive number can be 0 going upwards, right? So that is what we are going to write them here as a condition. So this number that the user is trying to enter should be greater than or equal to 0. It can be 0 or greater than 0. Those are all the only numbers. We call them as a positive number, right? Now all those numbers we need to add. Where are we going to add? We are going to get this add variable. I hope you still remember how we have used an assignment operator in case if you want to add. I hope you remember add plus equals. Here we are going to say number, isn't it so? What is it? This is just equivalent to add is equals to add plus number. I hope you still remember the assignment operator that we were learning, right? So every time when the user enters a number, I'm going to add them. So the first number is 0 will be added, 1 will be added, just like the way that we are adding them here, right? Now what is the next step? The task says in case if the user enters the negative number, then the program should stop working, right? The program should not add that number, and then it should even display that negative number that was entered by the user. So for that, what I am going to do, again I am going to say a cout function. Let me have those things again, because after adding that one, again we are going to ask the user to enter the number. So what we are trying to do them here is basically first user will enter the number, right? Let's say they are entering 3, right? Here we are going to check the condition. This 3 is greater than or equals to 0. Yes, it's true. If it is true, I am going to add. So initially, what is the value here for the add? Add is 0. Now I am going to add this number 3. So the total will be 3. That 3 will be stored where? To this variable add, isn't it so? That is what it means. Add is 0, number is 3, we are going to add both of them, the result is 3. That 3 will be stored into this variable name called add. So now the add variable has got the value as 3. Again we are going to ask the user to enter the number, because the user is going to keep on inputting the number, then we are going to keep on adding every number until we see the negative number, right? So with this input statement, the user will be given a chance to enter another number, then that number will be collected. Again this loop is going to be executed, right? Now what do you need to do in case if the user enter the negative number? What will happen? In case if the user enter the negative number, it should just display the negative number, then the while loop should terminate. For that, what I am going to do, after adding everything, when the loop terminates, this loop will terminate when? This is a 0, this is number. As soon as when the user enters negative 3 greater than or equals to 0, the condition is false, right? This loop is not going to be executed inside, it will come out of the loop. When the loop terminates, what do you want to display? You wanted to display the result of all these addition operations, isn't it? So how are you going to do that one? Simply you're going to say, let me just copy and paste. Here you're just going to display the addition of the positive numbers that you have collected so far. In order to do that, simply you're going to say the total of all number or whatever, total of positive numbers are, then we are going to display the result. So where are you going to get the results from? Simply from the variable add, isn't it? So this add is the one is going to have the total of all the additions, so I'm just going to display that one. So when I run this one, you will see how does this one would look like. Integer number, what's the error? C out, okay, there is a semicolon missing. Again when I save this one, it's going to ask me enter any number, 1, then 2, 5, 7. As soon as I enter the negative number, it's going to terminate, the while loop will terminate, and then it will just display the sum of all the numbers, right? So total of positive numbers are 15. So here 1 plus 2 3, 5 8, this one is 7, 8 plus 7 15. Now we are able to print all the positive numbers that are entered through the keyboard by the user. So this is how while loop can be used in C++.